Hi, welcome to SPR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. This is our daily pitching preview show that we do with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Right now we're looking at the card for Wednesday, June 3rd. And Joe Duffy, thanks for being back with us. There's a lot of toughies on this card today. Is that okay if I ask you the tough questions from Wednesday, June 3rd?
I may run for political office someday, so ask me the toughies.
Well, no, but that means that you're just going to not give us answers. We need answers from you, Joe Duffy, because we use these answers that you give us to help our betting. Can I ask you about the tough games on Wednesday to help us find value?
You got it. I've been isolating tough games and picking winners for now. I just passed my 27th anniversary of public plays.
Unbelievable. All right. Joe Duffy's website is OffshoreInsiders.com. Let's get started. First one I want to ask you about, Corey Kluber, off another good start, a ton of strikeouts again, although this time, he did give up 2 home runs, and we know that Cleveland sometimes does not support their pitchers when they have awesome games and they lose even when the starting pitchers give them 7 or 8 innings of 1-run ball. On the other side, KC with Vargas, Jason Vargas, Cleveland supposedly is not that great against lefties, doesn't like them. Vargas has been okay, but very far from great. Casey can have an effective offense, so the question is, what do we expect from Kluber here?
There's no question that Cleveland has the pitching advantage. Kluber, as I said, after that rough start, which really was pretty predictable, I went against him early. You had a pitcher coming off of a career year, but he's still a good pitcher. He's now regressing to the mean, and again, I remind you, by definition, that also means progressing. Right. Cleveland does have the big pitching advantage, whether or not it'll be worth laying the odds, because the entire world knows about Kluber and that he's on the way back, but at this point, you either got to ride Kluber or just pass. And Vargas has been struggling since coming off the disabled list. Granted, he's a decent pitcher, and maybe that he does have a game under his belt after coming off the disabled list. He could pull in a pretty good one here, but so I would say either Cleveland or the under would be my early leans here, or if anything, you just got to pass.
All right, and then the return of Masahiro Tanaka for the Yankees at Seattle. What, if anything, should we expect here, or is this just an automatic wait-and-see game for how Tanaka, is? And then there's Taijuan Walker, who, again, pitched a good game at home. He seems like, he's a guy who you want to fade on the road, maybe look to bet on at home. Tough question here. I'm asking you for your opinion, Joe Duffy. Masahiro Tanaka matched up against Taijuan Walker.
And the fact that Walker is starting to pitch a little bit better, he might be a pitcher that we want to start to ride. We had been fading him, like I said. These guys that come in highly touted but haven't proven anything at the major league level are generally pretty good fades. But now he's starting to learn how to pitch at the major league level. But, a lot of times when pitchers come off of the DL, they kind of have that adrenaline going. And especially a guy like Tanaka, they're not likely to rush him back. They might do that with a stud starter. I actually look for him to have a pretty good outing, although he'll probably be on a pitch count. So with Walker starting to pitch a little bit better, maybe a slight lean towards the under. But after fading Walker for a bit, I think it might be time to go him. At least a check mark in the column of possibly looking to go with Walker. But I don't see a humongous pitching edge here because Walker has been so inconsistent. I don't know if I want to fall in love with him here, especially since we were, the time I'd want to bet Walker's if he's a big underdog, because I like to bet on that unpredictability where pitchers like Walker are great to fade as big favorites and go with as big underdogs. But I don't know if there's a huge pitching edge here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a surprisingly low-scoring game.
Okay, and then this guy, Ed Rodriguez for Boston, right? An awesome first start. Now he has a second start at home against Minnesota. Minnesota can have a productive offense, of course. Fenway can be a very hitter-friendly park. What do we expect from Ed Rodriguez in his second start against Minnesota?
And Phil Hughes, in particular, has not pitched well at Fenway Park. 5.77 ERA, where he's 3-5. Again, I usually do bet on young pitchers to be inconsistent, so that, if anything, would say maybe to go against Rodriguez. But considering how poorly Hughes has pitched at Fenway, and he's not really having a very good season, might be a high-scoring game. So if I would have any lean, it would probably be towards the over, because I doubt if both pitchers are going to pitch well.
Really? So you expect Rodriguez to maybe be vulnerable here, because he looked awesome.
That's my like I said, that's my tendency with young pitchers. I like to bet on some inconsistency in the fact that he did pitch well in his debut. I would look for him to maybe have a letdown here. And I think historically, young pitchers have a long history of doing that.
Okay, and then 2 tough ones. First one I want to ask you about, Cole Hamels and Leakey in Philly and Cincinnati. And Hamels, of course, been really good and reliable, and Leakey's been flat out bad. But, you know, can Philly hit anyone, even if they're matched up against a guy who's been struggling as much as Leakey's been struggling? What's your take on this pitching matchup, Hamels against Leakey?
Well, he's actually a much better pitcher on the road with a 2.83 and 5 starts on the road. So you got kind of those reverse splits. A lot of people, when they look at home road splits, they always try to find those pitchers who are pitching much better at home. And of course, Hamels, the poster child for being a very good pitcher on a bad team. He struggled early, but he's pitched extremely well as of late. In his last several starts, he's done very well, dropped his ERA from 4.14 to 2.91. Probably a very low-scoring game because, as you said, with Leak, the home road splits seem to favor him to have a good outing here. And Cole Hamels, like I said, he's finally pitching well, and he seems to still be showcasing for a possible trade to a contender. Although Phillies fans have been waiting for that for probably about 3 years for them to trade Hamels for a contender. Whether or not it's actually going to happen, and neither one of these teams have good bats, so I would expect 4 or 5 runs to be scored in this game.
And then Sonny Gray and Anibal Sanchez. Gray, will he have another good start against Detroit? We know that Detroit, although their offense hasn't been terribly productive recently, in general, it looks pretty good on paper. And Anibal Sanchez very up and down, coming into this one off of a good start, also off 117 pitches. Is Sanchez going to get crushed or have another strong start and match a likely strong start from Gray?
I would say the biggest pitching mismatch of the day. Of course, it does favor the road team. Sonny Gray 6-2 with a 1.82 ERA, but Sanchez has really struggled at home in 7 home starts, 6.81 ERA. So even though Oakland's got a questionable offense, I gotta see them getting the Sanchez here, and a big advantage for Oakland.
All right, that's it from Wednesday, June 3rd that I wanted to get your thoughts on. What else would you like to point out to us, Joe?
Let's see. The Angels' Hector Santiago's quietly pitched pretty well.
Yeah.
5 straight quality starts, although I don't quite like the definition of a quality start. But a 1.35 ERA, and he's held opponents to a 190 batting average against during that span. A guy that I know you like to talk about, Tim Hudson, his last couple starts at home have been very good. 0.68 ERA in his last 2 starts at home, although arguably, that's a kind of short-term, and as we know, he's a very good but aging pitcher. So can we expect him to be completely consistent? I don't know, but if anything, I'd probably lean towards riding Hudson at this point. And in that second game of the doubleheader, Rick Porcello of Boston, he's been getting roughed up big time, 13 earned runs over his last 11 and a third innings in 2 starts. So, and especially with the doubleheader, will Boston go to the bullpen quickly? They may not, especially we'll see what happens in the first game. So might be a good go against Boston in the second game, assuming the pitching matchups hold up as they stand now. I would say maybe go against Boston in the second game and or look for a high-scoring game.
Yeah, and Trevor May can get hit on the other side for Minnesota, so we might see an over in that Minnesota-Boston game and maybe just a total of 9 or so. All right, Joe Duffy, thanks so much.